What is going on, everybody? We are here and we are live and ready to rock and roll for Sports Wars. It's been kind of a wild week. Obviously, during the middle of the week, we had some of the biggest sports news we've seen in a while, just in terms of holy shit, what the hell just happened with the Bronny James story. We will definitely be talking about that, as well as Stephen A. Smith getting into hot water for calling Kim Kardashian a prostitute, all this kind of random shit, and some NFL news with Jonathan Taylor. We talked about running backs last week. We talked about the running backs not being happy about their contracts, and all of a sudden, Jonathan Taylor demands a trade from the Indianapolis Colts. But before we get into all of that, Beardo, what's going on, man?
Yeah, nothing much. Been same old. Just been trying to, grow all the channels and, Kick, YouTube, and everything. So been chilling, man, but excited to talk about this. My favorite podcast of the week, so let's go.
Favorite podcast of the week.
Yep.
That says a lot. John Matrix, whose birthday is today. How you doing, buddy? Happy birthday.
Doing good, man. I feel about 20 years younger now that this stream has started. I was just talking about, man, I feel old now. 46 is old, but I'm feeling 26 when we start talking about sports. So, yep, I am ready to rock and roll. Happy to be here since I wasn't here last week, man. Had so much to do, man. We were at Costco for like forever getting stuff.
Yeah, you'd messaged me that like, yeah, you randomly had to run out. So no, it's all good, man. Did you guys see the head kick that Justin Gaethje had last night against Dustin Poirier? Holy shit!
No, I didn't see it.
I wasn't gonna spend too much time on was it 291 last night, but we'll probably play that at some point because I love watching Justin Gaethje fight because it's always going to end in disaster in one way, shape, or form for either him or somebody else, because that dude is not afraid to take a million shots to the head, and he dishes it out too. So let me see if I can find that really quick, because
it looked like he took a play out of Leon Edwards' playbook when Leon Edwards head kicked Usman. It was like the same exact kick.
Let's see. Justin Gaethje is trending right now. Derek Lewis, Derek Lewis too had a pretty good finish to his fight. Here we go. Oh no, I want to see the actual broadcast view, and then we'll see a different view as well. But holy shit, it was wild. How is this so fucking hard to find?
It's because it was a pay-per-view, so they've like, I think they wait like 2 or 3 weeks until like they post the actual fight and like the clips of the fight.
Here we go. It was just on Twitter. Like on Twitter, I was having a hard time finding it for like some random fucking reason. But yeah, here we go. All right. This is it. So this is second round, really early in the second round, Poirier versus Gaethje, and this happens. Yeah, I don't want to get hit. We don't want to get hit by copyright because they will hit us. Oh, this looks like it right here.
It's right here.
Gaethje fans being heard from now, about a minute gone by round
2.
Ooh. Done. Just absolutely done.
Lights
and then Herb just slides in there to try to prevent him from destroying him. But that was just as solid of a head kick as you're ever going to get. And of course, Gaethje does his traditional backflip. So just a wild ending, really early in round 2 last night, and man, it was just incredible. So, Dustin
Nice.
Poirier. I didn't get to hear anything after the fight. I didn't watch any post-fight interviews, so I didn't hear what Poirier said about it. But that was pretty awesome. I don't know if anybody else caught that live, but
I didn't catch it live, but I saw it shortly after. It was awesome.
Yeah. All right, let me see over here. Let's go to the live stream. I see Keely Chow, member for 2 months. What's up, Keely? Good to see you here. Good to see you still channel member. And we are live over on Rumble. Game On podcast for $10. Happy birthday, John. UFC fights were exciting last night. Derek Lewis has abs at 263 pounds. Insane. Derek Lewis is like such a wild personality.
Oh, yeah.
Like he really is. So he had He had a quote. He had some quote that was going viral last night too. But yeah, Derek Lewis gets a big win. I think they let that go on for longer than I expected. Derek Lewis was just pounding and pounding and pounding, had position, and really there was no effort other than just to cover your head. So I think they probably let it go on longer than people expected in kind of today's UFC. But yeah, a really solid win for him as well.
Yep.
The prelim head kick was better. I didn't see the prelim head kick because it was in the prelims. But we should talk about this big news from Jonathan Taylor. That's one of the first things I wanted to start off with this morning. Let me pull this over really quickly. Boom, boom. So last week, we talked a lot about the running back position, how there were some running backs in the NFL that felt they were being disrespected, that felt they deserved bigger contracts. And then all of a sudden, the tension that was very public between Jonathan Taylor and the Colts has now ended in Jonathan Taylor demanding a trade from the Indianapolis Colts. This happened yesterday and kind of started going viral. Everything we know about the Colts and the Jonathan Taylor trade situation. There had been contract negotiations this entire time. And it didn't seem like it was going to really progress that far. And, of course, Jim Irsay is always one to speak out and say, hey, if I die tomorrow and Jonathan Taylor never plays the NFL again, the NFL is just going to continue to go on. We're just two people involved in these contract disputes. Probably didn't help. And when Jonathan Taylor's agent is out there retweeting Jim Irsay, said bad faith is not paying your top offensive players, after complaining that the running backs were trying to get more done for them very specifically after they've already agreed upon a deal with the union. This entire thing's exploded. Reports are Jonathan Taylor wants $18 million per year, and that not a lot of people, like that's probably insane to think that anybody's going to give Jonathan Taylor that. However, when healthy, Jonathan Taylor is one of the most dominant and best backs in the league, bar none, no doubt. How do you think this is going to end, Beardo? Do you think it's going to end for Jonathan Taylor well, or do you think it's eventually just going to be backed into signing the franchise tag?
I mean, he had an MVP caliber type year in 2022. I don't think he won it, but he was like, he should have won MVP in 2022, but then he kind of dropped off last year. So, I mean, yeah, I know injuries plagued him and everything, but, man, did the Colts offer him a franchise tag?
I believe that's probably what'll end up happening. Yeah.
Man, I mean, yeah, there's loads of teams that would love Jonathan Taylor, and if Jim Irsay feels the way he does with those comments, I wouldn't be surprised if he does get traded. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor is an absolute madman, probably, like you said, top 5 back in the league when he's healthy. The Colts would love to have him, especially with a young offense, with an entire new regime in there in Indianapolis, a brand new rookie quarterback. You need somebody like Jonathan Taylor, a veteran in that locker room to kind of lead the way. And, man, if he gets traded, that's going to be a huge blow. But as far as the Colts run things, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do end up trading him.
Yeah, I
$18
think
million per year.
That's what he wants.
No. I've said
That's
it before.
nuts.
I'm going to stick to my guns, man. I'm not paying a running back. There's always a running back out there. That is one of the most easily replaceable skill positions in the NFL. You don't need a top 5 running back at all. These contracts also end very badly. Look at the money Zeke got. Zeke was done pretty much 2 years into that deal. I would not pay a running back that kind of money because you can find running backs in a draft in the 6th round, 7th round. It doesn't even matter. Running backs can be productive. The reason why running backs don't get that kind of money is because unlike great quarterbacks, there's only so many of them. There's a whole bunch of capable running backs out there.
They're a dime a dozen. They're a dime a dozen. And
they're easily replaceable.
They have a short shelf life, and that's why they're easily replaceable, and that's why you can't invest too much money into them unless, like we said last week, unless you're a guy like Adrian Peterson or LaDainian Tomlinson. Then, those guys are the freak of nature outliers.
But that's a rarity right there, man.
Those are rarities.
That's a different era of the NFL, and I think that's the thing, right?
This ain't the NFL of Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith. Those days are gone.
The running back position has changed. It's not the power running back is almost going extinct. The running backs have to be almost a slot wide receiver as well.
Now, what I will say is that when you look at a guy like Jonathan Taylor, who obviously one of the most dominant backs in the game right now when he's healthy, this is his 4th year, right? So this is last year before he's going to have to sit there and look at either get an extension or what in all likelihood will happen is he gets franchise tag next year. But, maybe you're the Colts and you say, okay, we're willing to give you, say, like this $15 to $18 million range for 2 or 3 years. Does he take something like that? Would he take a contract extension like that and say, okay, I'm not going to get a 5-year deal for $100 million, but I'm going to get a 2 or 3 year deal with me still in my prime with a young quarterback in Anthony Richardson, who I think we in all likelihood expect the running game is going to have to be very, very important for what they want to do going forward. Absolutely. To develop him as a passer. I think that should be something they consider. But this is after they had a meeting. After they had a meeting with Jim Irsay, they sat down, Jim Irsay, Jonathan Taylor, and he walks out of that and says, I want to trade. So that did not go over well. But I just don't think he has a ton of leverage.
The thing is, if he wants to play this year, or if the Colts want him to play this year, he's got to sign that tag because it's past the due date as far as new contract goes. If he wants a new contract extension, they're going to have to wait until halfway through the NFL season. Then they can start up negotiations again for the next year.
I say that again.
So the deadline is passed for contract extensions and new contracts and signing. That's why it was so important for Saquon, for the Giants to get that deal done, and they didn't. And he was forced to take that franchise tag because they could no longer sign him long term, and that's the same situation that the Colts are in. So if Jonathan Taylor and the Colts, both of them want to play this year, he's got to take that tag, and they won't be able to sign him till an extension until halfway through this season. Is that correct?
So that's the thing. This year isn't his tag year. So this year is his 4th year of his contract. So
he just wants an extension.
He wants an extension, right? That's what he wants right now. While all this stuff is being talked about, Jonathan Taylor wants an extension with the Colts because next year he knows he's going to be in that position where next year will be his 5th year and he'll end up with that tag.
He can get tagged for 2 years in a row, and by that time he's done.
Well, remember that happened to Dak. Dak got tagged 2 or 3 years in a row as well before he got his contract.
Yeah, but the difference is Dak is a quarterback, and say what you want about Dak, it's hard to even get a quarterback of Dak's
It was also still a mistake.
Caliber.
It was a huge mistake.
Yeah, but it's hard to get a quarterback even at Dak's caliber.
You guys had him. His name was Cooper Rush. You let him go.
I wouldn't go that far though. But Cooper was solid when he actually played 2 or 3 games last season.
He went 4-1 or 5-1 last
year. He did. Yeah. He wasn't that though. I mean, Dak's problem really last year was the interceptions. Rhodes believed that his thumb really wasn't healed up. I mean, he was just throwing interceptions like crazy. I don't think Dak is going to throw that many interceptions this season. He better not.
We'll see.
Dak led the league in interceptions and only played 13 games
12 games or something yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the kind of it is kind of wild that he led the league in interceptions 13 or how many had 16?
It was 15. Yeah.
Jameis Winston threw 30 picks a couple seasons ago, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
He had a 30-30 year.
It was
touchdowns,
it was
30
the
picks.
year right before Brady got there.
And he's still playing.
His last year in Tampa. Well, he's backing up. He's backing up Derek Carr now in New Orleans. Jameis Winston, I think at this point he's accepted that he's going to be a career backup.
Yeah. But Jameis Winston, I mean, of course he had 30 interceptions. He still had 30-plus touchdowns.
30 touchdowns. But he was also throwing to Mike Evans.
Yeah. But Jameis Winston could always play. But would I want him as my quarterback? No, I wouldn't.
I mean, especially not if you can have Tom Brady.
Right. Yeah, true.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, last year it was the Saints sitting there trying to figure out whether they wanted Jameis or Andy Dalton. Was it Andy Dalton was there last year?
Andy Dalton. Yep. Andy Dalton and Jameis, and then they still had what's his face?
Their tight end.
Hill. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the biggest Sean Payton experiment. Kind of, I won't say gone wrong because I still think he's a quality player. He's getting way overpaid. But Taysom Hill, he's this guy's going to be the next Steve Young. It's what the fuck? What are you talking about? But anyway, yeah, so that's the Jonathan Taylor situation. We'll see how that goes. I don't think he has much leverage, but again, we are in an era where athletes feel more empowered than ever to kind of make things public and put public pressure on these teams to do something. The problem is, I just don't know if there's any team. I mean, what Derrick Henry is getting, I think, the most of any running back. I think Derrick Henry is getting between 15 and 16 million a year. I think that's right.
And that's deserved, in my opinion, probably. He's. I mean, besides AJ Brown leaving, now Derrick Henry is the best player on that offense.
Well, that's the thing. That's where Jonathan Taylor's, like, that's where his head's at too,
right? Because
that's his case. Like, that's what he's saying, that I am this offense. You've got like a quarterback that you brought in who's going to need this thing, and for running backs, I'm sure it's tough to see their contracts seemingly continue to decrease.
Yeah.
While every quarterback that signs a new deal is getting paid record numbers,
Right.
It's only a matter of time. Joe Burrow luckily avoided disaster. It's like just a calf injury instead of a knee problem.
It still looked pretty bad though.
It did. I mean, that's probably going to keep him out all, most of preseason with the calf strain that bad. But whenever Joe Burrow signs, that's going to be another record deal.
He's going to get the most money. But honestly, I can't blame Jonathan Taylor for wanting his money right now, because he knows how running backs, once they hit that mark around 30, that's a wrap. So he wants to get his money sooner rather than later. Can't blame him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Beardo's a Giants fan. When you got a guy like Saquon, who Saquon Barkley's watching Daniel Jones get paid.
Yeah. But it's a quarterback-driven league, and that's just the name of the game right now. And
Daniel Jones plays a more valuable position.
Yep.
Yeah, but he doesn't play it nearly as. The thing is, he doesn't play it nearly as well as Saquon plays it. So I get it, and I'm not expecting. And I don't think these guys are expecting quarterback money either. It's just got to be fucking frustrating to.
Yeah.
Well, feel like you're one of the top 5 at your position, and no one gives a fuck.
Overall, last year, Daniel Jones meant more to the Giants than Saquon did.
Yeah, like I would actually take, if you gave me a choice, I'd rather have Daniel Jones than Saquon Barkley. I just
agree.
I
want both, though. I want both, but if I had to
both
pick
of them together,
choose,
but if you had to have a
Jones.
choice, Daniel Jones easily.
I agree.
Have to think about it.
I agree.
I personally think Daniel Jones. How many running touchdowns did fucking Daniel Jones have last year?
I think he had 8.
He was a really effective rusher last year.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens at all if Saquon's not there.
Without the threat of having Saquon. I agree as well.
The whole defense is, when Saquon's in the game, the whole defense is keyed on Saquon. So that is a factor.
It also doesn't help Jonathan Taylor that he's seeing these rookie quarterbacks. You see these rookie quarterbacks, what's his name? Stroud and who went first? Bryce Young. Their rookie contracts are fully guaranteed.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they both signed fully guaranteed rookie contracts.
And that's up to the team, right? That's up to whatever the
Stroud,
team decides.
he got all of his money up front. This dude isn't getting game checks for the next 4 or 5 years. All of that money is being paid up front, fully guaranteed.
It's wild. I mean, the NFL always has not been really about the number. It's been about the guaranteed number. And more people are prioritizing that overall, 100%.
So players, I know it's fully guaranteed, but don't they have the option of, hey, you pay me like once a year or you pay me like once a month? It's the same amount of money, but
CJ
don't
Stroud,
they have options to break it down like that?
You can get like game checks or monthly checks or yearly checks or something like that. And a lot of them, like Patrick Mahomes' huge contract, his is all back-ended. Like, he's barely making any money the first few years of that contract. And then he's making a boatload even after he retires, even after that contract's done. He's still making millions of dollars, like Bobby Bellina.
Oh, man, he's got that. Oh, yeah, he's
Bobby
getting one of those kind
deal.
of
But I actually think the Patrick Mahomes deal is like good for the Chiefs.
Very smart.
Yeah, it's going to look really good in the next 8 years.
Now, if he like gets his knee blown off or something and is dead, like that is going to look really shitty to have 10 years of that contract. But just because like 2 years from now, we're going to look at Patrick Mahomes getting like $50 million a year, and we're going to be like, that's nothing.
You just had a guy. You just had a guy in the NBA. I think he's getting like $62 million net season. Who was it? I can't remember. Sound like this massive contract. It's like $305 million.
You're talking about Jaylen Brown? Jaylen Brown just signed the biggest NBA contract, and
it's insane. $62 million a season.
That's wild. Let's catch up on some of these chats. Thank you guys for being here. Zenny Biscuit for $5. The Jim Dandy ended in a photo finish with Forte, getting a nose past Saudi crown. Cody's Wish is running Saturday in the Whitney. Good luck, Cody. Hey, good luck, Cody. Keely Chow, member for 2 months. We said that earlier, but said, damn. Thank you, Keely. Sumo Orange, member for 11 months. Good to great running backs can be found anywhere. Sorry, running backs. I don't think great running backs can, but I think good running backs are. I think that you can get 80% of the production for 20% of the cash, right? And that's what these guys are looking at, especially in a league that is increasingly not like one bell cow where you're platooning anyway. Even like the best running backs in the league are only getting half the reps at times nowadays.
Yep.
So when you factor that in, it's just a little more easy to replace those guys.
I'm willing to bet I can go to a Division II school right now and find an NFL caliber running back right now at a Division II school and be productive.
In the right situation, you know,
right?
Like if you find a running back that fits your offensive skill set and what you want to do, you can.
If you got a good offensive line, you can make any running back look good.
Sumo Orange for 2. Mind you, a lot of wide receivers are starting to play as running backs. I mean, we saw
about 2 of them: Debo Samuel, and what's his name, Patterson.
Cordero Patterson has fully actually become a running back. Yep. You also had that for a guy who played for the Packers, Ty Montgomery. Ty Montgomery did that and made the full shift at one point as well. Debo is obviously getting a lot of touches from the spot, but he's still like predominantly wide receiver.
Yeah,
but you don't want Debo back there taking 20 hits a game.
No, and we saw that last year when he got injured. He missed a significant amount of time. So.
Garfield's Bizarre Adventure for 5. Do you guys see ESPN as a brand surviving, or it'll be totally liquidated in the future? I don't think it'll be liquidated. I think there's some inherent value in it still. But I don't think they're going to let that happen because the massive sports contracts that are up for grabs in terms of getting the NFL and getting the NBA and all that stuff, I just don't think they're going to let that go. Because they still are the biggest name in mainstream sports media, even though that's a dying industry. In terms of the next 10 years or something, no way.
Yeah, even if they roll out that ESPN streaming service, that thing is not going to make money at all. It's going to be expensive. ESPN to me has too many channels. How many do they have? Like 6? It's way too many, and it's way too expensive. So a streaming service is going to cost you like $20-25 a month, and they're still not going to make money on it.
I don't know why they just don't turn ESPN Plus into that streaming service. Like that's what it was kind of marketed as. Like
it's weird to me that they're like doing a different thing.
Yeah.
Mick Walsh for 2. Todd Gurley and Zeke ruined the running back market. Yeah, I mean, when you see Zeke, like when they're still out there giving Zeke all these carries when clearly Tony Pollard was the more effective guy. Yeah. And now Tony Pollard's getting franchise tagged and he's not happy about it. You know what I mean? It's just, it's this rotating shit.
Nobody likes the franchise tag.
You see that Zeke went out to dinner with Mac Jones yesterday?
Yeah, he visited New England.
He's going to sign with the Patriots, right?
Probably.
Sony Michel just retired. The Patriots draft, speaking of running back, Sony Michel gets drafted by the Patriots, isn't effective, fucking cut his ass or trade his ass after like 2 years or something. He played for the Rams a little bit, I think, at one time.
He won a Super Bowl with the Rams.
Won a Super Bowl there, but like didn't do anything, you know?
Right.
And now he's just out of the league. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Kenny
the
Curvecock
NFL stands for not for long.
That's right. Is it true ESPN's doing a women's version of Sports Center? Yes, they did one the other night. An all-female version of Sports Center. I don't know how well that's going to work for them long term, but I guess we'll see.
It won't work.
We got to talk about. Let me see if I can find it. We got to talk about what was for about a day the biggest sports story in happening when we heard that the son of the most high-profile NBA player in the game, LeBron James, Suffered what a lot of young athletes have suddenly been suffering over the past couple years. It seems like an upcrease. It seems like an increase, not an upcrease. It certainly seems like it's been an increase recently of very healthy young men that suddenly have cardiac problems in sports. And Bronny James apparently is no different. We both made videos about this on our respective channels, but Bronny James suffered cardiac arrest, was unconscious, had to be taken to the hospital following a workout, like a practice at USC, which is where he's attending his freshman year of college. And, you know, despite everything we've talked about regarding LeBron James on this channel, I don't like LeBron James, don't like him as a person, don't like him as a basketball player. But in that position as a father who is having to rush to the hospital as your son's gone into cardiac arrest at 18, 19 years old, had to be absolutely frightening. Everything is good now. He's out of the hospital. He was in the ICU for a while. He was spotted. They went out to dinner last night. Everything's good. But holy shit, how scary. And how many times are we going to continue to have to see things like this in sports?
Yeah, this is scary, man. I mean, we had a range of videos we were putting out, especially after Damar Hamlin. We did something like 2 or 3 a day, and then it kind of died out. But that age range was always like 13 to 25 years old, and Bronny falls into that range. And why did this happen? That actually remains to be seen. A lot of people have been speculating. Was it jab related? Don't know, but it's still scary nonetheless.
And it's one of those things like with Damar Hamlin, we'll never know. We'll never know. They'll claim it was this freak of nature. And
what do they call it?
Cordomyositis or whatever it's called.
Something like that.
At least we saw that happen. Like, at least we saw him take a really weird shot to the chest and, you know, fall over and all this stuff. And I've actually seen that happen in real life in Little League. But anyway,
like, throughout sports history, we've seen anomalies where players have like an enlarged heart that they never knew about, that never got diagnosed to them, or they had like a hole in their heart that they were born with that they just didn't know, and then they collapse and die on the field. You've seen a lot of soccer players that happen to. But this Bronny, as far as we know, Bronny does not have an enlarged heart. You know, he's a perfectly healthy young man.
He's
super fit, you know, raised from a young age to be groomed into an NBA star, and this happens.
Yeah, and this is a dude who has the best diet regimen, the best workout regimen, like all this stuff, right?
Yep.
Now, a lot of times in instances like this, you mentioned before, we've had things happen where people have something happen and you find they've got like some congenital heart defect that they didn't know about.
Yep.
Oftentimes that happens because something happens and they actually have to investigate. Because normally, we're not sitting there doing MRIs and shoving ink in people's bloodstream and like watching how it goes. You know, you wait until there's something wrong before they do deep investigations like that. So we'll see what happens. I somehow don't think we're ever going to get the full story from this.
Yep.
But you can't sit and look around and pretend like there's not that there's not something going on. Now, if you do have a defect like that and say you end up with myocarditis, that can be a bigger contributing factor to something like that, like a built-in defect, than it might be for somebody else. But when you have all these young, seems like predominantly male athletes most of the time that this is happening to, it's a scary situation. And it's not the only theory that's been floated out there. Chael Sonnen said that he thinks performance-enhancing drugs may have had something to do with it, but that's just because he's always said LeBron has been on that, and he's saying that he's making the allegation that maybe Bronny is following in his dad's footsteps. That's an entirely different story, but you know, that's another theory that's been floated out as well.
Unless Bronny is running extreme steroid compounds, which his physique doesn't scream to me that he's running some toxic shit. The worst to me, if he's making that case, if Bronny's on any, is just your standard basic testosterone. And that is not going to cause you cardiac arrest at, how old is he? 17, 18 years old? Unless he's running some real androgynous stuff, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. And think of this, man. LeBron James spends $2 million a year on his body to keep it at peak physical condition. I'm pretty sure he's helping Bronny out too. So Bronny, even though he's a USC or Sierra Canyon, I'm pretty sure LeBron James was taking care of his son to make sure his body was in peak performance condition also as well. So when he collapses, I really got to scratch my head on this one.
Yeah, it's wild, and you have to like at least everything's okay. At least he's fine. He's back walking around. I'm sure it's gonna be a while before they tell him when he's gonna be able to play basketball again. So thankfully, like a tragedy was avoided.
Yeah,
but really scary.
You remember same thing happened at USC a year ago with a player, and he was back in about 5 months. Same thing. He was working out of USC, and he had cardiac arrest, and he ended up playing like 5 months later. So I fully expect Bronny's going to play this year.
The thing is, it could
unless something crazy happens.
If you take 6 months off, you know, and obviously, like that would be kind of if it was 5 months from now, that would be him getting cleared to play as we're in the height of college basketball season. Yeah. This could severely affect his draft stock because this is a dude who wants to do one and done, and he wants to go in the league and play with his dad. Right now, he's like, I think that if Bronny wasn't LeBron James' kid, he would probably end up somewhere in the second round, like as things like sit now.
Well, there was still a lot of questions if he was even draft worthy anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like when you look at his
ranking,
when you look at his ranking in terms of his class, he's somewhere like, depending on what rating system you use, he's somewhere like between 20 and 40, like in his class. So, you know, there was a lot depending on this season. So who knows what happens in the future for him. But obviously that's probably the least of their concerns right now.
Remember, DeMar Hamlin was cleared like about 2-3 months after his cardiac arrest. And
he's doing training camp right now with the Bills.
Yeah. He got his big ovation and roar and all this stuff. Wait till they find out that DeMar Hamlin's not like really good. I mean he's fine, but he's not like he's a decent
special teams player.
Yeah, like I said, nobody really knew who DeMar Hamlin was before he collapsed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. All right, where the fuck?
It wasn't like when the Steelers lost Shazier. When Shazier went down with that neck injury against the Bengals, that was a huge blow because he was actually a good linebacker.
Yeah, he's one of the top defensive players. That was very scary.
That was scary. And the thing is they didn't stop playing that game. They just saw their teammate just went limp body, and they still finished that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little different, though. Like, you know, we've seen guys get, you know, partially paralyzed, like for times and everything. Like, that's not what happened to him with, like, its body bending in half and everything. But he was conscious. They could, like, talk to him. You know what I mean?
But he had the risk of being permanently paralyzed, and he's still not all there. 100%. Like, he struggles walking.
Yeah.
And that's only because he had the best medical experts going through physical therapy and everything to get him walking again.
And, like, to see that happen is one thing, and obviously, like, traumatizing as fuck, and you're, like, wondering about the next play. It is a little bit different level than when your teammate is dead. True. On the field, and that's what DeMar Hamlin was dead. Like they were doing CPR to the day. His heart fucking stopped, and he was dead. Yeah. They're shocking him and doing CPR. That is a little bit different story than the Shazier thing.
Yeah, I remember watching Michael Irvin in 1999. I was sitting in my apartment, and he went down with that neck injury, and I was just devastated, man, because the Cowboys were never the same, and they still haven't recovered, you know, from the Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith era when Troy Aikman had all these concussions and Michael Irvin just carted off the field with a broken neck. Yeah. Not the same.
Yeah, it's true. Game On Podcast over on Rumble for 10. Hope this allows us to start talking about the jab. As a pharmacist, I have firsthand experience in the silencing of people who question it. I don't know if it caused it, but let's start the conversation. That's one of the things I said too is, you know, the son of LeBron James that's a very fucking high profile. And LeBron James was somebody who it seemed like was a little bit hesitant at first to do it, as like a lot of athletes were at the time. And then he ended up making a speech about I decided it's best for my family, blah, blah, blah. But if LeBron James decided that he felt that this thing has ended his son's potential NBA career, LeBron James could like blow this up. This is a dude who wants to be some kind of fucking activist. This is some dude who's done all this fucking bullshit, all this virtue signaling that I can't fucking stand. But if he decided to do actually something about that and bring attention to that, he is somebody that is powerful enough and rich enough and has enough notoriety and social media clout. Like, he's one of the most powerful people in the world. He could do it.
Yeah.
You know? So
but
who knows?
The thing is the damage is done. These kids already got it. This stuff is like irreversible. Like, once you get it, you got it. And whatever kind of effects that it's going to have on you, that's going to last and stick with you for the rest of your life. And if you happen to have kids, their DNA is going to be fucked up too from this shit, whatever it is. So yeah, you can bring awareness and bring awareness to it, but the damage is done.
Well, the thing, if the damage is done, though, what this could do, if this is the case, if we actually get some like long-term studies and we prove that these are the connections, these are the connections, these are the connections, and we see what's happening, you open that up, then you can do things to mitigate that. Then you can have screenings. You can have screenings and like different categories for physicals for kids that want to do high school sports. And it's like, okay, like, hey, did you get this? Okay, then this. Then these are the steps we have to take to clear and make sure you're okay. Like, there's actually stuff that you could do to try to mitigate some of those things.
Right.
Which maybe this could be a conversation that get boosted from all of that.
Yeah.
Mike Hilferton, a minor league baseball team in Tennessee, had to take down one of their shirts for race allegations, saying "Nuga" on the shirt. Yes. You know what? I saw that, and I'm glad you reminded me because I forgot to bring that up. We got to fucking talk
hilarious.
About this. I mean, I don't know why you'd make a shirt like this, to be honest with you, but let me pull it up. There's a Breitbart article on it. We've seen over the last several years, people have gotten very sensitive when it comes to certain things in sports, whether it's a mascot or whether it's a team name or something like that. Well, now a Cincinnati Reds minor league baseball team is getting blasted and forced to bend the knee over a T-shirt design, which let's just say it's pretty unique. All right. This cannot be real. Reds minor league team pulls T-shirts after fans say illustration resembles a racial slur. The Chattanooga Lookouts, the minor league affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds, has pulled a new T-shirt off the racks after fans and social media users said the graphic on the shirt was racist. Well, here we go. Let's see what they pulled from the shelves. Right here. This is it. This is for Chattanooga, and it says Nuga with two eyes right there. Now, John, as our resident expert in racism, because you're black, does this offend you at all?
No. It's not even the N word. It's N-O-O.
Yes. It's
N-O-O. Maybe some of these wokesters can't spell, but I think N-I-G-G is not the same as N-O-O-G, right?
Right. And even if it was N-I-G-G-A, I guess I don't. Maybe only certain people could buy the shirt. I don't know. But it's really weird. But obviously, this sent social media into a frenzy, and they've pulled it down. Now, I'm not from Chattanooga. I don't really know. I don't know if like Nuga is something that they refer to it as. I assume so, since you have this here. But it's just it's wild that in this day and age, like, anything can end up being subject to this massive cancel culture mob. I don't think there's anything inappropriate about it at all. Like you said, John, I think it's clear the eyes are supposed to be O's, and this is the Lookouts, so those eyes are like part of their emblem and everything. But I don't know. As someone who's white, Beardo, to get the opposite take or to get the opposite perspective, what do you think about this?
I think it's kind of like a it's kind of like a weird thing. Like, you know how your brain, like how you can read sentences, and even if a word is like as long as the first letter and the last letter are correct, and then you kind of like, you know, mix up the middle letters, you can still read the word and make out what it is. Like your mind plays tricks on you. That's kind of like what it is. At first glance, you're like, oh my gosh, like that looks terrible. But when you actually look at it and read it, it's like, oh, this is nothing. It's clearly two O's. So I think it's like a little kind of like optical illusion that's kind of like making people like look at it at first glance and be like, whoa. And then you actually read it and you're like, oh, that's no big deal.
I'm sure anyone that's familiar with the team and the area would probably get it like immediately.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
They would probably think nothing of it. It's not till some random person in Portland, Oregon sees it and gets super fucking offended that they decide that, oh, well, we got to take this down. But they have removed it from stores. They've removed that design. So I guess cancel culture takes another scalp in this case. No more Nuga shirts for the Chattanooga Lookouts. Really interesting story. But yeah, I thought it was wild. Chris Coran for 2. Beardo, I got your 2027 Giants versus Bucks.
Let's go. Thanks, Chris.
That's a long way away.
That's a long way down the road. So, but shout out.
Junior for 5. I'm ready for LeBron to become Alex Jones. Wouldn't that be the turnaround? That would be complete redemption for LeBron James here on this channel. I even took a week off LeBron bashing because of what happened to Bronny. All right. I didn't talk about how LeBron James' school that he has in Ohio, everyone's fucking retarded there. Like they can't pass any tests. They're just a bunch of fucking dumb idiots that they're celebrating that are dumb idiots, I guess. I even took a week off bashing LeBron. So the moratorium on LeBron bashing after this today will be over. We'll get back to it. But I'm glad Bronny's okay though. That's a scary
I already did it. I already did it yesterday. I talked about it at school, but it wasn't really about, LeBron. It was more just some other stuff.
That's true. Over on Rumble, Wesley for 2. Faux shizzle Manuga. It doesn't have the right ring to it, I don't think. We got to talk about Brittney Griner though. Things have been really hard for Brittney Griner. All right. She committed a crime and then she got arrested for said crime in Russia and then she got punished for that crime. That apparently made her into a massive victim that the mainstream sports media was begging and pleading to get everyone's attention. Finally, we trade a Russian arms dealer to free dumbass Brittney Griner from Russia. And since that time, things haven't gone exactly well for the Phoenix Mercury since she's been back. But somehow in the short WNBA season, Brittney Griner has decided that it's just too much for her. She needs a mental break. Phoenix Mercury's Brittney Griner's taking time off to focus on mental health, as if you didn't have enough time to yourself in a Russian prison. Brittney Griner's calling timeout. The Phoenix Mercury standout is taking a break from the team to focus on her mental health. The club announced in a release Saturday, the All-Star will not travel with the team for its upcoming road trip to the Midwest when it takes on Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. The Mercury are due back in the Valley Thursday. However, the reason did not indicate when the release did not indicate when Griner would be rejoining the team. Keep in mind, the Phoenix Mercury have been fucking terrible this year. They're 6-17. Brittney Griner is having a decent season, I guess, for her, but the team in general is just a disaster. Now, this is following all these big accommodations they made for her travel so she wouldn't be stressed out, so she wouldn't have random people like Alex Stein come up and asking her simple questions. And now she's such a mentally weak person that she needs to take a break from the 30-game WNBA season. It doesn't get much more pathetic than this.
Man, it sure is interesting, and you got to think like what kind of, I don't know, is she getting money from any kind of deals for her activism and for her being so brave and just all this nonsense that she's been, stirring up since she's been back? It's like, you're right, Ryan. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, why is she taking off time now? Because I found out like 8 teams actually get into the WNBA playoffs. So technically, I believe they're still in the picture, even though I believe they're like in the 10 spot. Mm-hmm. Why didn't she just take the All-Star game off for her mental health?
Yeah, you could. That would have a perfect opportunity. You wouldn't have fucked the team over. You maybe would have not gotten the individual attention if you had taken the All-Star game off. But that seems like it would have been the best thing for your mental health.
Yep.
But Brittney Griner is selfish, apparently.
Yeah, and to a greater extent, it's not just Brittney Griner. There's been other athletes doing this too, man. Naomi Osaka did it, and then, I can't take
Simone
it. The French Open.
Yeah, Simone Biles in the Olympics.
Yeah, but with Naomi Osaka, she said she needed to focus on her mental health, and she was out there doing photo shoots.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think I don't know exactly the reason or the timing why. It's obviously bitch made, and it's going to probably all be tied back to Alex Stein confronting her in a public airport and how we need to protect these athletes. You've got these WNBA athletes that are asking for money, all this bullshit, when the league has literally never been profitable. They should be paying the NBA for the privilege to be able to play in front of people, to be honest with you. But I guess I'm not surprised by this. That Brittney Griner, who has been portrayed as this massive victim, is once again taking this opportunity to pretend like she's a big victim and needs to focus on her mental health, to take a break of the 30-game WNBA season because she just can't do it. It's sad. I guess Kevin Love, right? I think, was it Kevin Love that needed to take time off for his anxiety or something? Was that him?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
It's not to say that these things don't happen, right? Obviously, everyone has different struggles.
It's a bigger trend going on right now. It's just more mentally weak athletes than back in the day.
Exactly. And, the idea that, for most people, spoiler alert, if I'm having mental health struggles, I can't just not show up, right?
Right.
Same thing with people that are going to jobs. You're having a rough day. You had a rough weekend. You can't just not go to work. But that's the privilege that some of these athletes who play in failing leagues get, apparently, like Brittney Griner.
Yeah.
Yep. Very true.
Connor Akers for 2. You heard of a YouTube channel named Jaguar Gator 9? I don't think so.
Not me.
No idea. Garfield's Bizarre Adventure for 5. Who would win in a fight, Dylan Mulvaney or Brittney Griner? I saw the Flashcast debate on this last night. Brittney Griner, obviously.
Brittney Griner would, not even close.
Brittney Griner would beat the shit out of, Brittney Griner would beat the shit out of, I would say, 98% of dudes.
I don't know about that. Give yourself some
Brittney
credit.
Griner's a man. What the fuck?
I think
Brittney Griner's a man who's 6'7" or something.
You could fuck up Brittney Griner.
I don't think so, no.
I do.
How old or how tall is Brittney Griner? She's 6'8".
6'8", 6'9".
She was born a man. Brittney Griner's voice is deeper than fucking almost any NBA players.
I think any average-sized dude, biological milk, it could probably fuck up Brittney Griner.
Brittney Griner is 6'9" and 210, 215. So she's a little skinnier, but I don't know, man. I see my entire belief on this is that Brittney Griner is a biological male. So despite the fact that she's probably may have gone through a transition or two, she's still stronger than the average woman, obviously, that would be that height. So I don't know.
Well, go look at her ESPN the body pictures.
No, I don't have any desire to go look at those.
There's that one video. The only video I've seen of her with the shirt off is that one video where she's at a pool hanging out with her friends and she's shooting a basketball, and it's like that is a little suspicious.
Yes, it is. Very suspicious indeed. But yeah, as to the actual question, yes, she would beat the fuck out of Dylan Mulvaney.
I agree.
Not a chance. All right. Where the fuck did I go? Make sure I'm all caught up on Rumble. SC Medic for 2. Ryan could bite her ankles. Yeah, she's almost a foot taller than me. I'm 5'10". She's almost a foot taller than me.
Hell, I'm 5'6", so she's way, way taller than me.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking big. All right, where the fuck? Oh, I want to talk about Women's World Cup. That's right. Let's talk about the Women's World Cup. And old Megan Rapinoe. All right, pulled this shit up. Boom. usually whenever the World Cup, whether it's men's or women, comes along, most people, if they're in this country, in America, are just going to go ahead and root for the United States because that's what they do. They see red, white, and blue. Even if it's a sport they don't care about, they're going to support it and root for them. However, the U.S. women's national team is probably one of the hardest Team USAs to support because it's clear that so many of them disrespect this country and even despise this country. And especially someone like Megan Rapinoe. And as much shit as the U.S. women's national team has gotten over the past couple weeks when they've decided to not even put their hands over their hearts, let alone sing for the national anthem, one person that hasn't been up there for it has been Megan Rapinoe because she's been coming off the bench. Well, apparently even that is not going to happen anymore for Megan Rapinoe. In the game versus Netherlands, Megan Rapinoe didn't even get on the field. She made this big announcement of, it's going to be my last World Cup, guys, my last run with Team USA. Got so much attention. But as we've pointed out time and time again, her game has been suffering these last several years. She has completely fallen off. And now she didn't even get on the field. It's no secret that women's soccer superstar Megan Rapinoe is the most decorated and accomplished player. But unfortunately for her, that wasn't enough to convince the coaches of the United States women's national team to put her in the game on Wednesday night. During Wednesday's group stage match against the Netherlands, Megan Rapinoe was not in the team's starting lineup, which was not exactly a surprise. But this time, she didn't come off the bench either. The United States played the entire match on Thursday with the team's most legendary player on the sidelines, even as they tried to come back from an early deficit. We've talked about this a lot. As her game went down, she started virtue signaling more. She knew her time was up. She started saying, it's okay if trans men come in and play or trans women come and play, all this bullshit. Megan Rapinoe is at the lowest point of her playing career. She should have retired a while ago, and now she's getting benched in the world's biggest stage for a team that she is a big reason why this team's unlikable as fuck. If she wasn't on this team, people wouldn't be paying as much attention to what's happening with the national anthem. But not only is she bringing all that negative attention, she's not even getting on the fucking field.
Well, and I remember when the women's national team was actually winning the Women's World Cup, like, what was it, like 8 years ago or something like that? Like, she wasn't even...
They're the back-to-back champs.
Yeah, they went back-to-back. As far as I remember that first time when they won the World Cup, like, she was on the team and she was like coming off the bench. Like, she wasn't that good back then. And from my knowledge, it wasn't until they weren't even competing anymore as far as being competitive in the World Cup or just whatever for the national team. That's when she started, getting starting playing time. But this picture, look at this picture of Megan Rapinoe. She looks like Elliot Page.
That's rough, man.
That is rough.
Bruh.
That's a rough look.
Man, she looks about 55 in that picture. I know
Horrible.
they caught her in a moment right there. She's only 38 years old.
Caught her a moment with like no makeup or like whatever, but yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, but at 38, man, she's old. She's athletically, she is old. She's washed up, and now she can't even get off the bench. It's no mistake that she's actually calling for men to come into women's sports now, because she knows that she is washed up, she's done, and she doesn't have to deal with the men coming into her sport.
It's a totally empty virtue signal, right? Because they're not going to take your spot. Same with Sue Bird, her wife, saying the same thing. They're done. They're out. So their career isn't in jeopardy by biological men coming in and dominating them. But that's Megan Rapinoe, and this is just more embarrassment for the U.S. women's national team because she's on the team and she can't even. They should have left her off the roster, to be honest with you.
Right.
She's too old. They had her on there for what she's done in the past. They shouldn't have included her. And now just her inclusion is putting more negative attention on them. And it's just bad all around for them.
They probably included her on the team because they knew the backlash of not having her on the team would have been just catastrophic.
She probably would have made it a big deal.
Exactly. Yeah.
She probably would have fucking got all upset and all pissy about it.
Yep.
How many minutes did she play against Vietnam? I know she came in around the 63rd minute, but I don't know how long she actually stayed in.
Well, and they were up
game.
3-0, right?
Yeah, they were up 3-0.
I can see, I have no idea. I can see if I can find it.
I mean, I tried looking for it too when I shot my video, but I couldn't find out how long she actually played in that game.
I guess you would have to go to I could probably find it.
They don't keep that in the box score like they do like NBA, right?
They don't. They have to. I mean, I don't really care about soccer, but that's the way I see it. WNBA. I can't even go places to find this shit. World Cup, Vietnam, USA, box score. Here we go. United States versus Vietnam. Team stats. Lineups. Substitutes. Where do we got here? Megan Rapinoe.
Somebody in chat says 30 minutes. 20 to 30 minutes.
I don't know how to figure this stuff out. I'm not a soccer fan. Fuck that. But anyway, 20 to 30 minutes. Someone says less than 10 minutes. Either way, it was in a blowout victory. They can't lose this game that they have today to Portugal, or they're out.
Yeah. They weren't even impressive against Vietnam.
Yeah, I mean, they ended up a very disappointing draw with the Netherlands. So more focus on virtue signaling than what's going on in the field, apparently. But I think that's going to – I have one more thing I wanted to talk about. Fucking Stephen A. Smith. That's right. Had to talk about Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is no stranger to opening his mouth and popping off and eventually coming around and backtracking. Well, he did that the other day on Twitter over something that is not related to sports at all, but was getting called out by other professional athletes, and that is Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith apologized for asking if Kim Kardashian, quote, was a prostitute. Now, this is all based off this tweet, or X, whatever we're calling it now, I guess. Stephen A. Smith is facing backlash for a tweet asking if Kim Kardashian is a prostitute and is Kris Jenner a pimp. This was the tweet that has now been deleted from Stephen A. Smith. But he's doing it on his show where he's not just talking about sports, he's talking about other things too. But obviously, Stephen A. Smith is the most prominent guy at ESPN, at least until Pat McAfee gets there. But still, the guy who's been there the longest, he's the face of ESPN, and he's getting blowback from other professional athletes like Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley retweeted it. Not cool. She has kids. Should not be the tittle or topic. Patrick Beverley was so horny while simping for Kim Kardashian that he misspelled title with tittle.
Does he not realize that prostitutes have kids too?
Maybe not. I would think Patrick Beverley would know. Now, Stephen A. Smith not only deleted the tweet in question after getting backlash, but then gives this weird response. Clerical error, bro. You're absolutely right. That is being corrected right now as we speak. And for the record, I don't think of Kim Kardashian that way, nor would I ever speak of her or any woman in that way, which I've stated. Thanks for checking that issue. What?
Holy shit.
And someone's like, I can't help but ask, how is this a clerical error? Now,
but
maybe he's not writing his own tweet. I don't know. It was to put a video out, right? He was putting a video out of his channel. Yeah.
He has his podcast. He does these things. He's just asking the question. He's not necessarily saying that she is. But we know the Kardashians, man, they're grifters. The main reason why people actually know who Kim Kardashian is because of what's his name? Ray J. The Ray J tape.
Yes. And there's been a lot of reports out there, even resurfacing recently, about the fact that Kris Jenner was the one that approved that getting out. Right?
Didn't Kim Kardashian say that herself?
Right, exactly. So that's why all of this stuff is happening. That's why he was phrasing it like that, because of how all that started.
Well, if that's the case, then Kris Jenner is definitely a pimp.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not prostitution if you film it, and it was filmed. So no, she's not a prostitute. She's just a porn star. So yeah.
It's not prostitution if you film it. That should be a perfect defense next time in court. But look at these hidden replies, by the way. This is pretty fucking sad. Clown comment, clown. Clerical error, my ass, pretty fucked up thing to say. Average Stephen A. Clown tweet, clown. He's hiding replies that just say clown. That is pathetic. Now, I'm not going to go too much further because we're live and I have no idea what could else be hidden. But the fact that people are just calling him a clown and he's hiding those, that is pretty fucking sad. Stephen A., it's whatever. It's a tweet. You got blasted. I don't know if it's a clerical error. It's not that big of a deal. I think people are blowing it out of proportion, but now he has made it worse with the way he's responded to everything and hiding comments and replies like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Stephen A. Smith once again under fire for something that has nothing to do with anything he did on air and everything to do with Kim Kardashian for some fucking reason.
Man, you can't apologize, man. You can't apologize. That's the biggest mistake. You can't apologize.
Do
then they
not
take
apologize.
That as
I can't think of how
guilt.
many times.
Yep.
Especially, and if you're going to apologize, one, if you actually feel sorry about something and you feel like you have done something wrong, it's okay to apologize. But he didn't. He wasn't really an apology. He just said clerical error.
Yeah.
Clerical error. I don't think about anyone that way. It's like,
All right.
what? Okay.
Well, the thing is, man, Kim Kardashian's kids one day will find out about that tape.
If
They're
they
gonna
haven't
find
already.
out. Well, maybe they're not old enough to understand it yet. Eventually, they will,
Yeah.
and she's got to be prepared to actually answer that question
Yep.
because it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, can't take that back. All right, I wanted to make sure we hit that topic. Make sure we're all caught up on super chats and stuff here. Bert for 199. Megan Rapinoe is 2 years older than Lionel Messi. Lionel, is that how he spelled Lionel? That's probably because of how I say it. It's supposed to be Lionel. I don't know.
No, it's pronounced Lionel.
Is it Lionel? Oh, he said it Lionel. I guess he spilled it out.
Leo.
Spanish.
Lionel, yeah. Well, thank you, Bert. Is Messi 20 or 37?
36.
Damn.
Let me see.
And he's had a good debut for himself down in
Yep.
what is it
Yeah,
called?
he's 36.
Mm-hmm.
Playing for whatever soccer club.
Miami.
Down Miami. Right?
Miami.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kenny Curvecock for 2. Any additional plans for football season as far as streaming and content? About a month away from college and pro games getting going. Yes, we'll do something. We'll do something a little more this year for sure. I don't know what yet. We definitely need to have a fantasy league. Undoubtedly, bring that back this year. But yeah, we'll be doing some more stuff for sure.
Is the Monday stream coming back?
Probably.
Monday Night Quarterback.
Yeah.
Maybe. I haven't talked to Robert at all or any of those guys, but we'll definitely probably be doing the Monday stream again to recap all the games.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
and preview Monday's game. So
Cool.
yeah, 100%. All right. With that being said, Beardo, what do you got going on this week?
Nothing much, man. I think I'm going to Universal today to hang out with the Hollywood Scholar, and that's about it. Try to just keep live streaming over on my channels and doing the same thing, man. Doing the same thing.
Nice. Sounds good. John, what do you guys got going on at Black and White?
We'll be back with our morning show on Black and White Network tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Okay, there you go. All right, guys. Hey, thank you for being here. Appreciate all the support over on Rumble and over here on YouTube. We'll be back same time next week. Peace, everybody.
Later.